Hello there. I'm Scotty, and you're not. And we are talking about Red Notice, starring Rock the Dwayne Johnson, Ryan Reynolds, and Gal Gadot. It's not Gadot. The T is silent. It's Gadot. Okay? Pronounce it right. People mispronounce her name, but it's Gadot. Obviously, the T is silent. But Red Notice is an action-adventure, spy, thriller, heist film about a man who is supposedly a man by an FBI agent guy who is supposedly set up by a thief who's trying to clear his name with the help of another thief and trying to find the lost egg of Cleopatra. So one thing I'm going to talk about, I forgot to mention this in my Army of the Dead review, but WWE likes to collaborate when some of their former wrestlers do Netflix movies. With Army of the Dead, they collaborated by having zombies be lumberjacks in a match between The Miz and Damian Priest. And for this, they did a skit in which Vince McMahon did a storyline in which Vince McMahon got an egg, a golden egg, from The Rock, and then it was stolen, only to be found the next night because Austin Theory stole it so he could take a selfie with it. The writing on WWE television is terrible nowadays. That's why I don't really watch it, per se. I watch pay-per-views, but even that's starting to get grating on me, but so yes, in this film, The Rock plays a FBI agent named Hartley, who is trying to track down a killer named Booth, not killer, a thief named Booth, played by Ryan Reynolds. And they tell a story at the beginning of this about Cleopatra was given 3 eggs by Mark Antony, and one of them has been lost to time. The other 2 are in museums, and so The Rock goes to this museum, and he points out that the egg they have is a fake. Somehow he's able to know. He does the temperature thing, and there's no temperature on it. So it says, because apparently gold gives off radiation. Okay, who knew? I didn't know that. So he takes this kid's cola and pours it on this fake egg, which melts the egg. Is it the citric acid? Is it the acid? Citric acid. Whatever is in there. Melted down that thing. And eventually they find the real egg in the possession of Booth, and they put it away, but the egg is stolen, and Daz, the head of the FBI or whatever, believes that Hartley is behind it, and so he gets sent to prison and becomes Booth's cellmate. They eventually escape and go to another place where a man played by Chris Damamathamus, Mo from the Three Stooges movie, has the second egg, and they plan to steal that one. And Booth claims to know the location of the third egg, so they plan to steal that one. But of course, the bishop, who is played by Gal Gadot, she is there. She steals the first egg, and so she is also there. And there are so many twists in this film. Man, it really just... It's revealed that she's working with Mo... I'm going to call him, I don't remember... Sottovoce. That she's working with Sottovoce. And then she betrays him when she finds out the supposed location of the third egg. And Uh, so, because they break it and they go and get the second egg, and that's revealed that she's working with Sota Voce. And, the FBI lady shows up, Daz shows up, and they go in the vault, and then somehow Sota Voce is able to get there without bumping into the FBI into Daz, but and stop opening doors. Stay in your apartment. So they are tortured to find the location, and Booth finally reveals that the location is Egypt. So, Bishop, I forget her name, knocks out Sota Voce with laced wine or champagne that knocks him out, and she goes to steal the egg from Egypt. However, you're able to get out and escape. They have this thing where they bullfighting thing. Eventually, they're able to escape, and they find out it's not in Egypt, but it's somewhere else in a Nazi bunker in some tropical island. I don't remember what I said it was. And they go there, and they find it. They find this little staircase, and they go down, and she is there. She shows up and it's like, "Oh, you found the egg," and it's revealed. No, not yet. And she, had the egg, but then, Daz shows up. Now, this is one of my complaints. Throughout the film, Daz keeps showing up to wherever they are. And each time they explain, "Oh, I tipped her off. I tipped her off." That she was tipped off and that's how she found him. However, this time is the one time I cannot excuse it. It's like, "Well, I followed you. She must have followed me." No, that's a lazy excuse to have her keep showing up. It's one of the things I hate about movies where cops are chasing you. The cops always seem to catch up with them, and it makes no sense. And this is one of the times it just doesn't make any sense for me. Yes, they throw out the excuse, "Oh, she must have followed me." But no, I don't buy it. It's a lazy excuse. It reeks of, "Oh, we gotta have her keep showing up." And they build excuses, but they run out of excuses, so I just assumed that she followed me. That's a lazy excuse, and I don't like it. But, so they run away, and they steal this car, they go through, and they jump off this waterfall, land in the water. Booth thinks that Hartley is dead, but he's not, he's fine. And it's revealed that Hartley and Bishop are actually working together, and they're actually lovers. And that they've been working together all the time, and he was never working with the FBI or a special agent or whatever. He was always a con man, like his old man. He does confess earlier that he hated the fact that his dad was a con man, and here he confirms that and says that he became a con man to prove he was better than his old man. So, I guess, and they planned this all together. And so they sell the third egg. This guy, all three eggs are there. And once again, Dawes shows up. I'm assuming they were led there by Hartley and Bishop. I don't know. Again, her name's not Bishop, but I can't remember her name. Because they're both Bishop, the Bishop, because there's two bishops in chess and many pawns. There's 10 pawns, by the way. Just saying. But, yeah. And then we cut to there on a boat. Booth shows up because he escaped, of course he did. And he's like, Dawes is on her way there. Because, of course, the cops have to always be right there. We'll get to it when I start going through the positives and the negatives and stuff, but I'm going through here, just going through it. And so he recruits them for another mission in France, I think. I think it's the Louvre they're going to. Supposedly they're making a sequel to this, and I'd be up for it. But yeah, so positives and negatives here. I love the cast. I think all three of the main actors do a good job with what they have. However, Ryan Reynolds is the one thing that kind of pulls it down for me. And not that most people will say, "Oh, I'm tired of him playing the same character in every movie." I would expect nothing less of Ryan Reynolds to play the exact same character in his movies. It's Ryan Reynolds. It's what works. Keep doing it. If it's not broke, don't fix it. He keeps doing this. And it works. For me, it works. What doesn't work, though, is the PG-13 rating. He feels held back. Like, his comedy could be a little more out there if he was allowed to. But a lot of his comedy feels like he's just being forced to hold in those F-bombs, to hold in the raunchy comedy of it all. There's one scene where, and he gets punched. You get one F word, why couldn't he say it? It's cut off before he says it, I don't know. But, it's like, I don't know. It gets too, his comedy gets, right to the border, but doesn't cross over because it's only allowed to be PG-13 comedy. And especially with this being Netflix. And with Netflix, you don't really have a filter. And to put a filter on Ryan Reynolds in a movie for Netflix, I don't know if this was meant to be for Netflix and they just put it on there because they didn't trust it in theaters. Because it feels neutered for a Netflix movie. You know what I mean? Especially compared to the stuff that I watched in the recent days from Netflix, like The Fear Street, Blood Red Sky, and Army of the Dead, which all had R-rated stuff. There was some nudity in some stuff. There was a very big sexuality stuff in these. Blood. This feels very neutered, especially from Netflix. And it feels like, oh, we made this movie, it's PG-13. We don't trust theaters to do good enough. Let's put it on Netflix. And people are expecting a certain level of things from Netflix, and this is neutered. I like the set design, the effects, this world that they build, all very good. My biggest negative is the cops. I hate it when you have a movie with cops following people and they just show up. Yes, for most of the times they explain it very well. Oh, I called her. I let her in on it. I tipped her off. But there was that one time I already mentioned. It's like, oh, she must have followed me. And it's like, no, that's a lazy decision. Just so she can keep showing up. And even at the end of the movie, when it's like, oh, is she on her way? He's like, let me guess, you tipped Dawes off and she's on her way? Yes, with fast boats. And I'm just like, we had to do it one more time? Really? And then she shows up and he's not there. It's just, here's a tip. If the filmmakers are watching this, which honestly they're not, for the sequel, not so much the cops always finding them. Okay? The cops, especially movie cops in movies are not that fucking smart. Okay? We have seen cops in movies over and over again. They're idiots. Stupid. They should not be able to find someone that quickly. And you can only go so far with the, oh, I tipped them off thing. And another thing is the constant twists in this. That kind of just, when it was, you have at the beginning, oh, you put the thing in and, oh, she stole the egg. She was it's obvious it was her, but she stole the egg. Okay. Oh, he's been implicated. And she falsified all these documents. Saying he wasn't working for the FBI and saying that and all that. And things. And he's trying to clear his name. Then it's revealed he's actually working with her. And yeah, there's just too much of the twists going in and out. But I will say I did enjoy this. And I would welcome a sequel. I think all the leads have great chemistry together. I think there was action, set pieces, and sequences that really worked. I didn't, like usually you watch movies like this and CGI stands out. I didn't notice too much of that. That's just me. I didn't pay attention enough, but I didn't notice too much of that, so that's good. And I like the idea of a MacGuffin they're trying to get. Although, much like with National Treasure, which I'm going to be covering down the road, and why I think there hasn't been a third film yet, is that they ran out of ideas. I wonder what the second film is going to be about. This one's Cleopatra's Eggs. I don't think that they're just going to make the second one about the Louvre thing. They might start there and lead to something else. And I don't want more of the betraying each other thing, although with Ryan Reynolds' character they could. Because, the other two are working together and I don't know. But I thought this was pretty good. So I'm going to give it a pretty good. So what are your thoughts on Red Notice? Let me know in the comments below. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching. I've been Scotty. I'll see you in the next one.